Hi everyone, Tori Day. It's another very fine day, another very beautiful day. And today, I did here with my brothers. We're doing something different. We're doing something new, something I've always wanted to do. Especially because those who they know me, they know my football background. They know I'm a soccer guy. For America, we call it soccer. For Africa and the rest of the world, we call it football. Yeah, I did that for a few, and then decided to jump into other things. I'm still passionate about it in as much as right now I don't invest so much time in it. I have a platform right now, and so many people have always been on my neck circle. Wait till it happen. Why you need to talk about football? Why you need to share your football knowledge? Why you need to bring people the way they get the same passion as you for another talk about football? Yeah, we don't start today in. I'm really happy. I'm actually starting with people who are not just passionate about the game, but because I like the way they analyze things, the way they see things. Um, my brother, Coach Nathan, and my brother, Perez, you guys are welcome to
Thank you.
Toride.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Coach
Happy to
Nathan, we'll
be
start
here.
with you. For the people who they probably don't know you, tell them a few things about you.
Um, my name is Nathan. I grew up in Cameroon, primarily from this in the southwest province, but I'm originally from the province. I spent my school years in the northwest province and my holiday time in the southwest province. My parents, our family home was based in Limbe, so I consider myself more like a Limbe guy. And from the beginning, I've always loved football. From primary school, I would dodge school to go play football, to play intercartier, inter-club games for money, for whatever. That has built till this point where I still play
Mm-hmm.
soccer, I play actively, and I manage teams. I manage youth, I manage adults. I've
Mm-hmm.
been a coach for Arlington Veteran. I'm a coach for United Veterans. And I'm also a coach for another youth team that we have called Mansfield Web.
Mm-hmm.
So I have so much passion for the game. I wake up at 4 a.m. to watch leagues in Australia, in South Africa, in Europe, in the United States. That's how much I love the sport.
Wow, Kushi. By the way, you talked about Southwest Province. Then they don't still you know go PE because now we're talking about regions for PE.
Actually, I don't go pay twice.
Okay.
I don't be out of Cameroon for maybe I'd say 24 years,
Damn.
and I don't go Cameroon twice.
Wow.
I go the I don't even remember when. And then
Mhm.
the last time was right before my dad passed.
Okay.
So since then I've not been. I've been there twice.
My brother Perez,
Yes,
thank you
sir.
so much for showing up. I know it's not easy for call some person. I think it was like 2 or 3 hours before this segment, and you showed up. That is just love. That is just respect. That is showing that you actually have so much respect for what Tori is trying to do for our community. Tell us about you and a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. My name is Pretz. I'm a young Cameroonian guy. I've been in the States for about 20 years. One of my earliest memories is, being outside in Cameroon and Yaoundé playing, with my friends, playing soccer with my friends all day
Mhm,
long, bare feet. It's something that I've always held, near and dear to my heart. It's
mhm,
allowed me to express myself. It's allowed me to grow as an individual, as a person. So
mhm,
whether it's playing the game, watching the game, I've had coaching experiences as well, coaching younger children how to play.
mhm,
I think there's a lot to learn from the sport, overall. These days I spend a lot of time watching, the Premier League, Saturday mornings, uh, you know, German league, things of that nature. So I'm not as involved as when I was a child, but still something that I take a lot of pride in, watching and experiencing on a weekly basis, essentially.
Wow, that's beautiful. Kochi, um, what be a most memorable moment where you get like growing up when it comes to soccer? What is that moment that you think about it and maybe you laugh or maybe you just smile and maybe you just oh god, fudi football palava this way.
So my most memorable moment was in PSS Mancon when I was first called up for the school team.
Mm-hmm.
I was a child. I was very young. We were playing against Nacho Comprehensive College. For those who know,
Mm-hmm.
that's like they had everybody in the team was a second or first.
Wow.
We had no first division player in our team. So I was called up. I knew I was going to be on the bench, but I was happy. I was excited just to be called up.
Yeah.
So we were playing in Sacred. So first half, we're down 6-0. So I
What
mean,
did you say? 6-0?
6-0, yeah, 6-0.
First
So
45 minutes.
first 45 minutes. So at that point, we had lost the game.
Mm-hmm.
So the coach was like, "Hey, let me just throw these young guys in." So I went in. I was very skillful.
Okay.
So I don't know if those guys were just they just wanted to give me a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So I received the ball in the midfield.
Mm-hmm.
I gave a through pass on the right wing,
Mm-hmm.
and I was running in the box to wait for the cutback.
Mm-hmm.
The cutback came. Fortunately, this defender slipped
Mm-hmm.
and fell. So I controlled the ball with my chest and slammed the ball in the net. Big time goal, man. I was super excited. Super excited. I didn't care about the
6-1.
6-0. Yes. I was. So that was my key moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
My brother, I like that name though. Yeah, when I was talking to you today, and then you told me, "Hey, is your middle name?" I was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
that I never knew." I
What's the
thought when
name?
you know when
Hey,
we
yeah.
Oh, that's a nice
Hey,
name.
yeah when we started, we wanted to do the segment, and you said,
Mhm.
"Hey, yeah," I just thought it was kind of like okay, brand thing and all of that, but
Mhm.
that's really beautiful.
That's my grandfather's name actually.
Okay.
So my grandfather was from Konsamba in Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
So it was his name, and then he passed it on to his two sons, so my
Mm-hmm.
my two uncles, as well as my first cousin. So
Wow.
each of the males in my family, my paternal family, have that name.
Wow.
So it's a very special name.
Wow. No,
It's a very special
sincerely,
name.
it sounds really good. Tell us
Yeah.
about your own experience, like growing up. Um, what was that moment, soccer moment for you? That made you feel like okay, football is either a funny game or I don't know.
Yeah. So for me, again, growing up, I remember getting my first ball. I remember it was an orange tango. It was always
Mm-hmm.
called
Mhm.
tango
Yeah,
in
tango.
Cameroon. So for me, it was always playing. But watching my older brothers play, right, was
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I was like, hey, I want to play too, because
Okay.
in the quartier, every afternoon there's not much to do. Well, so
Mm-hmm.
all those young people, once our older brothers or older cousins were playing, we rushing to the stadium to watch them play. So I think the physicality was always something that I appreciated, and then dribbling the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the first games that I played when I was in primary school, I think the game was 1-1, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the games that we organized during breaks,
Yeah.
and we were playing, and I scored my first bicycle kick.
Wow.
Wow.
I
Wow.
scored my
Wow.
first bicycle kick, and that's when I was like, "Hey, this thing."
I think I'm good.
I think I'm good. The way because it was so simultaneous, and it was after Mboma had scored. I think it was against
Against
France,
friends, yeah.
Mhm,
and
mhm.
I was like, yeah, I like the feeling I get when you make a good solid move, a good play, and
Yeah.
because all my friends were excited because they none of us had even tried to do it at that
Yeah.
point. But not only did I do it, but I scored. So it was something that I remember. It was a solid memory for me.
That's good.
Koshi, that's the thing, right? I
Mhm,
feel like most of us we had these skills, but I don't really know where they came from. Like he was saying, maybe you saw Mboma do it, and then you just go to the field, and then you
mhm,
can actually replicate the same thing. Do you actually think? Because that is one other thing. Most people usually say, "Oh, Cameroonians are born footballers. Like
mhm,
everyone in Cameroon was born to play."
mhm.
Do you think it is something that you believe, or like, do you have that same mindset that okay, everyone from Cameroon is supposed to be a footballer, or Do you think there was something happening around our community that made maybe somebody like him or other people uh push them to that place where they can automatically do certain things even without maybe going through the training?
No, I don't think every Cameroonian is born a football player.
Yes.
We all have love for the game because it was around us.
Mm-hmm.
We played
Mhm.
every time.
Okay.
It was part and parcel of us.
Wow.
We You were famous by playing football.
Okay.
The girls liked you because you played
Football.
football.
Yeah,
There was every motivation out there for
Play
you to
football.
play football.
that's true.
And I remember when we walked on the streets in Limbe, and that guy that really played for our school team,
Yeah.
and that guy that way. So it was honoring.
Yeah.
And I saw that with my senior people,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to be there.
Okay.
And that's what happens. That's why we all in our generation
Mm-hmm.
played football.
Wow.
I think 80% to 85% of Cameroonians played football.
Football.
Yeah. So that was the motivation. It was us seeing our seniors. It was the vibes that we got from the public,
Mm-hmm.
from our community that motivated us. Even though our parents had another opinion,
Mm-hmm.
but our desire overcame that.
Yeah, could you just say something? Our parents, most of our parents, and that was so true. They had their own opinion. I remember my mom always told me, and the funny thing was, the example he always used is somebody who is actually in Texas. In back in the days when they were growing up, this person was a super guy in Kumba. But then at one point in time, they consider him a failure. So when I try to play, my mom always tell me, "Oh, no, bring me the team for you." Na so the man be the make, and then na see sips away day na today. So this brings us to the question for you, boss. What was that moment? Was there any moment or any experience, or either it happened to you or it happened to someone where they were actually threatened not to play soccer, or they were actually really talented, but then family was like, you know what, we don't want to have that around us.
So not in my family particularly, because my father, let me say, he was very strict, right? So
Mm-hmm.
even for him, success did not come from being an athlete. that
Okay.
that was one thing that he made clear. So whether you were talented or not, it didn't really matter for him,
Mm-hmm.
specifically in his mentality. But I had a neighbor who was, on track to being a professional, right? he
Okay.
was he was heavily scouted. So,
Wow.
and at some point in time, you expect him, oh, he's gonna go to Europe or and make that leap,
Yeah.
but it never happened, right? And
Wow.
so and essentially those examples that our parents would use, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, look at so and so down the street, right? He plays, he's famous here, but in the next town over, someone is just as talented as him,
Mm-hmm.
and they might have deeper connections to get them where they need to go.
Yeah.
So it's not is and there's a point on either side. We
Mm-hmm.
also know, personally, other people here in Texas that have made it,
Mm-hmm.
played overseas in different places, and then
Mm-hmm.
stop playing and diversified into something else. But for me, I look at it from the standpoint of the challenges that you learn, right? In
Mm-hmm.
in a 90-minute match,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many moments
Mm-hmm.
that can affect the outcome of the game, right?
Wow.
So if you're able to take the highs and the lows, right? Hey,
Mm-hmm.
I made the proper pass here, but I missed
Mm-hmm.
the tackle here, and I
Mm-hmm.
continue to look for the proper play.
Mm-hmm.
Inevitably, is going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times we're not able to translate that from the game to reality,
Wow.
right? And I think that's one thing that the ones who make it,
Mm-hmm.
they're able to show us that, okay, if I stay,
Mm-hmm.
afloat, I might be able to make it to the end. So I think that's the lesson we have to learn from that.
And to
Yeah.
that point,
Yes.
let me talk about somebody that I watched playing.
Yes.
He's in Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
Toko Roland.
Yes.
We grew in the same city, same
Mm-hmm.
town in Limbe.
Yes.
He was older than me,
Mm-hmm.
so I really didn't know him much, but I knew his brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So my very first national team game that I watched was Cameroon, I think Malawi.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the grandstand, Douala, Stade Réunification de Douala.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
This guy, I mean, these French guys were talking about Langlola.
Mhm.
Langlola. See, Roland was fantastic.
Mhm.
Like, I was proud to be an Anglophone,
Mhm.
to be
A
from
Lindegar.
Limbe,
Yeah.
to know the guy. You
Wow.
understand? Just from the way they talked about that number 6 shit.
Mhm.
Now, this guy did everything to play pro football.
Mhm.
He pushed himself.
Mhm.
He went overseas under very tough circumstances
Mhm.
and he made it.
Mhm.
He was also very educated because he's a doctor now.
Mhm.
So, football was his passion.
Mhm.
He pushed for it. He did it at the highest level. He played with the national team. He
Mhm.
played at the Nations Cup,
Yes.
and he's a doctor now.
Mhm.
So, to our parents, we can do both.
Okay.
You know, we can do both. We can. It's about encouragement. If they encourage us,
Mhm.
we will do it.
Okay.
You know, my kids, the place I went to two of my son's game today.
Okay.
The first game was above his level, but he's in the team. The
Mhm.
second game, they won 4-1. He
Mhm.
scored all the 4 goals.
Wow.
So
We need to bring him on Tori this soon.
He needs to be a guest.
he loves it.
Okay.
And my other son is a goalkeeper.
Okay.
He was a football player,
Mhm.
and then I told him, hey, you can be a goalkeeper.
Yes.
He went to his soccer coach and told him that he wants to try out.
Mhm.
First games he was horrible, but I encouraged him.
Him.
I bought balls to go to the field. I
Try.
will push him.
Kick the ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy is a goalkeeper. Like he's a goalkeeper. I'll put him in my team anytime. So it's all about the encouragement, you know.
Yeah. This brings us to uh I think our next topic I really want us to talk about, which is uh hey do you think people are born talented, or do you think we actually have to work extremely hard, or let me just say hard, let me not say extremely hard. We have to work to become what we want to become, the Lionel Messi's, the Ronaldo, or I don't know.
Are you born? Can you be born talented? Yes, I believe you can be born talented. I
Mhm.
think that the Almighty God puts different gifts in each of us, right?
Mhm.
And you have to be predisposed to accomplish certain things, right?
Mhm.
And even to be an athlete, right? You look at athletes across the board. If they're born talented, they are born into a gene pool that is also talented, right?
Mhm.
You look at Neymar, they say, "Oh, Neymar is a good player," but his father, if you look at his history, his father was also
A soccer
a
player.
great soccer player
Mhm.
in his locality.
Mhm.
So you can be born talented. Now, is talent enough
Take you to.
to continue and take you through different levels? I don't think so, right? There needs to be the proper mixture of talent and hard work, right? If you are
Wow.
talented and you apply the hard work, the sky's the limit, right?
Mhm.
We've seen it. We know several examples, not just in soccer or football, but basketball, football, whatever you want to look at, right? But if you don't possess the talent and you
Mhm.
work hard, the likelihood of you even overcoming someone who is talented is much higher. I personally believe
I thank you for that one. I was going to actually say that. Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. If
Okay.
you're not talented and you work hard, you put in the time and put in the hours,
Yes.
a talented person cannot outdo you.
Mhm.
And that has to be your mentality.
Wow.
And for us, and in going into that point is resources to do what you need to do. Right,
Okay.
as the brother said earlier, hey,
Mhm.
I discovered my son's playing football. If he can play football at this level and catch balls here, can he not be in the goal stand
Mhm.
and defend the goalpost?
Mhm.
And so you take the time to go and develop that talent,
Mhm.
because inevitably, because just hand-eye coordination is
Mhm.
something that we take lightly, but it's a
Mhm.
skill.
Yeah, that's
To be
true.
able to track something at high speed
Mhm.
and catch it or stop it and make a
Mhm.
move instantaneous, it's not something that is given to everybody.
That's
Everybody
true.
that does not have that skill.
That's true.
So if you're talented enough at 5 years old or 3 years old, your father, your mother sees, hey, this little boy or this little girl is doing this at this level. Let me put him in this little, let me or sacrifice this to,
Mhm.
who knows where it can go, and that's our problem. Because, and I thank God for experiences, because in this system we're able to see what either case gives us, right?
Mhm.
Talented and hardworking, or hardworking and not talented.
Mhm.
We're able to see that because of the resources here. Why are Americans the best athletes in the world? Is because they have the resources,
Jeez.
right?
true.
Take us back home. We're very talented, but we don't have the resources.
Resources.
Or we might be very hardworking, but we don't have the resources.
That's true.
So when we get to a certain level, that's there's the hard the glass ceiling.
Boss, I'm really liking this segment. Sincerely, I'm enjoying the segment. Koshi, what is talent for you? When they say someone is talented, like for you, what is talent?
Why do you have to ask me all the difficult questions, man? Come on. What is talent to me? I think it's the ability to do something that people cannot really do
Mm-hmm.
with ease,
Wow.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
With ease. Since we're talking about football,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of talented players who can do magic. I wasn't at that level. I worked hard
Mm-hmm.
for what I got.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to them like natural,
Wow.
So to me, I think it's what they can do that we cannot do under
Yes.
normal circumstances.
Substances.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Because
No.
nature versus nurture is a big thing. So you have something natural and then it's nurtured, and you'll be great. But most of the time, there's one or the other. There's one or the other. A great guy like Ronaldinho,
Mm-hmm.
he had natural talent. He did things with the ball
Yeah.
that most we're probably not going to see again.
Yeah.
Another Ronaldinho.
What do you think? You think Messi? You think Eto'o was talented or it's hard work?
Eto'o worked hard.
Mhm,
Eto'o worked hard because you see, for Eto'o's size, he wasn't the fastest.
mhm,
He wasn't the best dribbler,
mhm.
right? He had just enough of each skill.
Yes.
So to me, I look at it like that's someone who had just a bit and went and worked to develop
I
his
agree.
skill.
I agree.
Right? He,
100%.
Yeah, what you're actually saying is right, and I think I'm more of on that side of work hard than even talent.
Yeah.
Because 80% of the players that we had, even the Njume Toko that you mentioned,
Mhm.
I've watched him play and everything. He is not more of the guy who you can say, okay, it was just talent. It was more of someone who was disciplined,
Mhm.
who knew what they were supposed to do, who learned what they were supposed to learn, and all of that. You understand?
Yeah.
If we look at our communities, especially like back home in Africa, you realize that the ones who actually did the things that you were saying with ease, and most of them did not actually succeed.
Yes.
Because in as much as I don't know how they got the talent, I don't know if it was not. I'm not part of the group that feels like you're born talented. No, I feel like everyone is born the same, but then you start doing certain things, you do it again and again and again. It becomes a habit. It becomes something that's in your mind, and then you can easily pull the stunts. That's for me. That's how I see somebody who's talented. Because I was like that. For those who have watched me play, you always say, "Hey, Sako, you are born footballer. You're born this." But guess what? There was a time when my elder brother had a team, and we were playing an under-8 competition. I was not even part of his first 11, and then they were winning, I think 4-0. He put me in there. They equalized 2 goals, and then the guy took me out. Just imagine, I was less than 8 years old, but I
So
still
you
remember
remember,
that.
yeah.
You understand? But after that moment, I remember he was in opposites. I was in lower seat, but then they will come and pick me from lower seat. I was in Form 1. He was in opposite. I was in Form 1.
Wow.
They will come and take me from Form 1 to go play with them opposites when they had their games.
Why do you think they did that?
Because at that point in time, I was considered talented. And I can
Exactly.
actually explain why I became talented. I can explain.
You were you don't need to. You were talented.
You didn't become talented.
This is
you
the
were
thing,
already
right?
talented.
When he actually put me and took me out, I don't think I was good.
Yeah.
But then I think right after that moment, my mom was actually transferred from the city to Banga Bakundu, which was a small village. You understand? And when we got to Banga Bakundu, you know how these villages are. After school, every other kid whose parent is not teacher goes to the farm.
Yeah.
But me, because I didn't have anything to do between 2 and maybe 6 p.m., all I do is play soccer. So during that time, I had enough time to play soccer again and again.
Yeah.
When the kids were there, I would just play and play and play and play. I remember I had something that I just used to do out of fun. When I did not have kids to play with, I would go to our house behind the house. So I would take the ball and then I'll hit the ball on the wall and then I'll chase and then because the wall was kind of like my partner. That was actually training me, like teaching me the skills of a midfielder. The ball is coming this way. I know how to orient the
Control,
ball
yeah.
and play. And that was how I became perfect. So when I finished primary school and I was going for secondary school, I was that super talented kid.
Yeah.
So after my analysis, I was like, okay, you know what? This is what actually made me better. I played and played almost every day.
So you're saying that it's not it did not come naturally.
No, I
You
don't
worked
think
for it.
I worked for it.
Okay.
You understand? And that
I'll
was the
take
same
that.
thing. Like growing up, I discovered that at one point in time, I sat and I was analyzing every other thing around our community, right? I discovered that the guys who were considered naturally talented, the guys who people would say they are naturally talented, were not the ones playing for big clubs. The people who were playing for big clubs were the ones who are actually working to play for these clubs.
Okay, let's drift a little bit off of
Yes,
football.
Koshu.
You know Allen Iverson.
Yes.
You think he was talented? You think he was talented naturally?
Uh, for Allen Iverson, I don't really know.
Okay.
But my belief is that it doesn't matter who you are. The what's his name? LeBron James and all of these guys, at one point in their life, they had the opportunity or they had the chance to practice again and again and
Okay,
again and
okay.
again. Either because guess what? That's the reason why if you look like in America, why is it that you see most black kids excelling in these sports? You understand? Because that is the only thing they have.
You
Their
practice.
parents don't have money to be buying them toys,
Yeah.
to take them to these lands or whatever, and all of these things. You understand? So from that tender age, from that young age, just like you saw on Toko, you understand? They start seeing somebody because probably on the TV,
On
and then
TV,
they're like,
of
no, I
course,
want to
it's
be
on
like
TV.
that.
Yeah.
And guess what? The little time they have, they invest in. I want to play basketball again. I want to do that thing that I saw
It's a
Michael Jordan.
subconscious thing. It's a subconscious thing, and you're not wholly aware of it until the outcome is there.
That is it.
I'll give you but it doesn't take away from the fact that you have to be born with a certain predisposition, right?
Yes.
You mentioned basketball with Allen Iverson.
Mm-hmm.
People that he played against, for example, Kobe Bryant, believed that he was naturally talented.
Okay.
He did not work hard for his talent. The reason why, because there's a very famous interview where they asked him why he doesn't go to practice. And his answer is, it's practice. Why do I need to go to practice
When I already know.
when I'm already good, right?
Really?
Those people, yes, it's a famous interview.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like we're talking about
Yeah.
practice. However, let's bring something a bit closer. Someone like Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Nigerian Greek guy, right? He's one of the best players in the NBA currently, right? He's on track to be, the next LeBron James and things of that nature. Now, if you watch this guy play, right, he's playing basketball, but he's dominant in not just because of his size, but because of his hard work. But he was born with a certain gift set already.
Okay.
Right? His fingers are this long,
Okay.
his hands, so now if you are given the right circumstances to do something, your talent is gonna help, but your hard work is gonna
that's true.
push you to the next level.
That's
but you
true.
have to be born with something there already that gets developed. That's how I see it. But if in back home we don't have those resources, so we rely more on talent, right? You already need to know how to do this, or have someone who you already have to have this skill set developed already. But player development is something that's very serious. You have to be able to make someone better incrementally, like keep pushing them.
Now, I think I understand very well what you're saying. Yeah. It's like saying, how can somebody who is hungry become talented where they cannot even afford the meal? And guess what? The fact that they don't feed well, actually they're not going to have the body size that they were supposed to have. We were supposed to be on the advantage. No, what you're saying is true. You're born with setting, can I say additional, so setting gifts, and then now you develop your talent, and then you become one of the best.
So they say it's about 70% of players who are in the NBA have some type of family member who had been in the NBA previously.
Okay.
And they're only, I think they've all in all, there are about 6,000 to 7,000 players who have ever played in the NBA.
Okay.
So that means that someone's uncle or third or fourth, fifth cousin
Mm-hmm.
played in the league.
Yeah.
So there's that lineage. There's something that comes from talent. So if that it stays in your bloodline, it stays in your bloodline. So if it's not you, then and you're not the professional, but maybe tomorrow it's gonna be your
Maybe
child,
yeah.
your someone else.
Koshi, man, this is really fun. I'll give you guys a few minutes while we during that few minutes. I don't know, maybe we'll play some one spot something. Because I want you guys to share the video. Maybe share. I'll send a link to you guys right now, and then you just share with maybe a few friends you want them to join. Because we want to have a session where we can have people who are watching. The few people who are watching, please, we want your comments, we want questions. I don't want to be the only one to ask questions. They are not supposed to be the only ones to ask questions. We want many more people to ask questions, and this is really beautiful for me because guess what? I was sitting there thinking, okay, no, this is my idea, and you must not be born talented. Until today, now I know, yeah, in as much as you can work hard, but then you have to have those resources around you. A mom who maybe wants to, because that's the other thing. Just imagine me at the play and then mommy they already tell me say you feel.
Yeah.
So you never even push. Because once you start, you want to push, you feel like, oh, mommy they already tell me so I feel. Let me get something, let me go do something else. But then another kid whose parents are like, oh, you'll be the next Ronaldinho, continue to push, believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Those are the resources you're talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which the kids here have. My next question will be now. I feel like our community has a lot resources, like you guys are saying. Why are we not having so many of our kids? Because we already get grandfathered, we don't stay for like 30, 40 years. Why are we not having so many people from where we're coming from playing for the national team, maybe here and even go back home, and like so many soccer stars? I know we have one guy who's playing for what do they call it? FC Dallas right now. Cameroonian, you know him, right? You've heard of him?
He just moved to Dallas.
Oh, he just moved to Dallas. Yeah, I
Okay.
think we have one guy playing for FC Dallas.
Okay.
But
We have
the
one
question,
Tolo. We have Tolo who plays for
Seattle.
Seattle. Yeah,
Seattle
He
Yeah.
plays for the
Sounders.
national team.
so but the question is, we have parents, we have people, grandfather, we don't be here for like 30, 40 years. What were they doing? Like, what did they nobody do? Where we now get for the do differently, so we can. Before we take that question, we'll share the video with a few persons, and then might send on the link.
Yeah.
If we share with a few persons, and then we'll go from there. But sincerely, I enjoy the like. I don't know why I never done to do this since.
You're doing it now.
Yeah, I don't know why I never done to do this since. This is fun. Okay, I'll just send the link to you, Koshi. Let me see another. Mr. Perez. Okay. Yeah, I just share the link with you. We can share to groups. I don't know if we should share to our football group. You think it's okay since it's a football thing?
Sure, yeah, it's a football thing. Sure.
Koshi, you get that?
Yeah, they get that. Yeah, they always,
And this is so interesting. And now one thing that I don't know, man, I don't know why I was just I don't know, for some reason I don't really like to talk about football. I don't know if it's the frustration from not succeeding as a soccer player or it's just jealousy. One of my friends told me, Sako, he's just jealous at picking the way.
Right.
He's jealous at picking the way that they play.
Your time has come and passed.
Yeah, I mean, it's far now. I only have to start thinking about how I can do to help the next generation. And conversations like this can actually help,
Yeah, of course.
because sometimes I wonder why we don't have so many. We have the resources and everything. Why is it that we're not having so many young people succeeding in playing in all of that?
You said for us here in
Yeah, for
the
those of us,
States.
especially those of us in the United States.
So
Yes, you can go ahead.
it's a couple of things in my personal opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you, as we said earlier, a lot of our parents conditioned us to look at success from the academic side of things, right? Make sure that we are, getting an education and progressing in that manner, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when people have the opportunity to migrate or move, that is always going to be the center of their attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for our seniors that came here a
Mm-hmm.
while back, even they've reached a certain level of success, the things that they're going to tell their children is, hey, continue to do A, B, and C to get to where you need to get.
Mm-hmm.
um that, as we said, the nature versus nurture, if we're not nurturing that competitive spirit in our children,
Yes.
it's not going to lead anywhere. All right, it's a cultural thing, because again, we see the best of the best, right? The best athletes on the world stage,
Mm-hmm.
many of them from a young age have been playing competitions, right?
Yes.
From 5 years old, 6 years old to 8 years old, they're playing competitions, and the
Yes.
parents are going there and they're cheering, they're happy, and they're active participants in the growth, in the
Yes.
development. Again, back home, let's say your son comes home and say, "My mom, I have a game at the petit terrain."
Let me take a
Yeah,
spa.
yeah. The first thing she'll tell you is, "Hey, what am I gonna go over there to do? I don't have." I'll tell you, my cousin, my
Mm-hmm.
first cousin, he was a swimmer,
Yeah.
right? He was doing national competitions in Cameroon. He was the national champion of swimming in Cameroon,
Mm-hmm.
2003. His mother had never seen him swim.
Wow.
Wow.
My aunt, I had never seen him swim, but he's a national champion. So that tells you how much emphasis we put on sports and competitions.
Mm-hmm.
So for us to be able to break through and get into these different leagues, we have
Mm-hmm.
to replicate the same actions that the best of the best are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Nigerians, for example, and it's not, we don't only have to go far in other communities.
Mm-hmm.
Our brothers next door are doing it,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're in the basketball league, they're in the football leagues, they're in soccer leagues. They've
Everywhere.
because they've done it, right?
Mhm.
Their fathers, their parents, are doctors, so they understand the importance of that.
Wow.
So if we want to do the same thing, there's a certain line that we have to follow.
Koshi, I want you to show more light on that. What do you think our community should start doing to get us to more talented kids? Because the kids are already, I feel like they're already talented. I feel
Mhm.
like they have everything we did not have, the resources and all of that. What do you think we should start doing to get them across the line?
Like you said, we have to encourage them. We
Mhm.
have to support them. We have to motivate them. We have to push them.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we do for the academics,
Yeah.
we have to do it in other areas of their
Okay.
life, because there's no one path to success.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You can succeed as an athlete
Mm-hmm.
and still become a medical doctor,
Okay.
or you
Absolutely.
can be a prominent attorney
Mm-hmm.
without being an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to exploit all of your opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And our parents, we as the parents,
Mm-hmm.
should foster that.
Yeah.
We should encourage them to do that. I'm trying to come up with a kids league, not a
Okay.
kids league, but a kids training session
Mm-hmm.
where I want them to free flow,
Mm-hmm.
to play like I played on the streets,
Okay.
the catch to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important, because when I saw my son play, I realized that he has zero control,
Okay.
right? But now I see that he has control
Mm-hmm.
because of the work that the coaches have done,
Yeah.
right? Now, if we can replicate that in our community,
Mm-hmm.
we will see that talent.
Yeah.
We'll see the desire from the kids. We'll see another thing, something different in that child
Mm-hmm.
that you send every day. Go do your homework,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? You see that in that child. You know that I can send him to do his homework.
Mm-hmm.
And on Tuesday and Thursday, I will take him to the soccer game or
Exactly.
to the basketball court
Mhm.
or to the tennis court,
Mhm.
right? We have to expose them to everything. Sometimes I regret, I ask myself, if I had gone to coaching school,
Mhm.
maybe I would have been a better person.
Mhm.
If I had played soccer, maybe I would have been a better person. But that time has passed. I cannot let it pass for my kids. I have to
True.
fix that, you see. And that's what we as parents have to do. Me in sports, I have to bring that to my community.
Mhm.
That's why I want to do this venture gratuit, free,
Mhm.
where parents can come, well, a token for maybe the dips and the
Mhm.
goals and stuff, but I'll
Mhm.
dedicate my time to bring these children. He said something very important.
Mhm.
Our kids they start playing competitions.
Mhm.
They know that pressure in playing competition.
Mhm.
When they get to a higher level, they're already
They'll be
used to
there.
it.
They'll be
Yes.
there. They're
They're not
ready.
scared of the crowd
Exactly.
because they know the crowd. They've been used to it.
They've been there.
It's very important that we start because that's that's it's at that level that we start bringing them up.
Yes.
Yes, we cannot give up at that elementary level.
No,
We have to
it's
make
very
them see
important.
everything and then gradually take shape.
Wow. This is so interesting. I was hoping maybe by now, maybe we'll probably watching videos and talking about, but this is actually more important because
Yeah,
I don't even see our community. We're not having these conversations. And boss, thank you very much for that initiative. And you know me very well. I'm about the community. Anytime, any day, if you feel like I can contribute somehow, just let me know
for sure,
and I'll jump in.
for sure.
My brother here, what are some of those things? Oh God, I had this question. I just keep my mind. Let me ask another question.
Go ahead.
Um, no, someone asked the question. I think we should take that question. From our brother. Why do you think most talented guys back home did not make the top level, like playing in Europe, but the average players did make it to the top clubs, even with the top clubs in there, even with education, most guys who did well in school end up doing very little, nothing with their brains they have. But so technically, I think the question is, why do you think most people who we consider maybe smart or talented back in the days, they did not actually attain the level that we were expecting them to attain? Sign professional. I'm one of them. People thought I was so talented, but then I did not get to sign the professional and all of that. I know other people who were not as talented as me who actually signed professional soccer,
Mhm.
professional contracts. The same way with education, most of that people they will take first for class. Most of that people they will be considered in brain box. They're not actually the maybe naming that they president of a country now. All of that people that where they run the country now people they will, most of we maybe even expect and all of that. Why do you guys felt it happened that way? I don't know who wants to start. Could you start?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons is bribery.
Back home, right?
Yes,
When
yes,
you're
yes.
talking about back home.
Back home,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, I
Can we
relate
just say corrupt system?
corrupt system.
Mm-hmm.
I relate a lot with Roland,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't play professional football in Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
He did. So sometimes he would tell me it's very difficult to get a liberation. A liberation is a document that your team gives to FIFA to liberate you to go play
Please
in
elsewhere.
another team.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, before you get that liberation, they will tax the team and tax you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's because it's very expensive for the team that wants you.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that they slow down the growth of the sports
Mm-hmm.
because they don't encourage our kids or the talents that we have to
Mm-hmm.
go overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Little things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other thing is the like he said, it's quality, it's what did we say? It's quality and hard work.
Mm-hmm.
I read this interview, I watched this interview with Simo.
Mm-hmm.
He
Augustine
played
Simo.
Augustin Simo. He played
Mm-hmm.
very well, I think, in the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
He went to FC Sion.
Mm-hmm.
He could not meet up with the level of training because it's a professional level.
Mm-hmm.
He said, je ne pouvais pas.
Okay.
C'était difficile.
Mm-hmm.
You see players, our good players in Europe After some time, they go to Turkey. They go
Yes,
after money because they cannot keep up
You
with
can
the
keep up.
standard,
that's true.
and that's what is killing the growth. You
Mm-hmm.
see, so we have to start cultivating that mindset, and that's one thing Eto is doing.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to the grassroots
Mm-hmm.
to cultivate that mindset, to
Mm-hmm.
give people the belief that you can be better if you work
Mhm.
hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if we can adopt systems like that, things will change.
Mm-hmm. Here, do you have anything to add to that? Like, why do you think we know we had so many talented people back then? Not just soccer, even with education and all of that, we had so many smart people,
Mhm.
but then we are not seeing them running the things maybe in the country or headlining the football clubs or even the national team.
Yeah. So he touched on a very important point: bribery, right? A
Hmm.
lot of the
Corruption. Let's use corruption.
corruption,
Yeah.
yeah, corruption in general terms, but
Mm-hmm.
that that also goes into these different circles that each of those players belong to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you come from affluent background, or you have someone who is backing your career, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of chances are you will make it into those circles. You will get
Uh-huh.
deliberation. Things will go through much more smoothly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I take a guy like Anelka, for example.
Yes.
Anelka was a decent player, right?
Yes.
But we know Anelka signed crazy contracts, and the
Yeah.
main thing was because he had an agent who was, very capable, right?
Uh-huh.
Who got him the right deals. So
Mm-hmm.
the corruption is endemic to FIFA overall. I think there's even a documentary that came out on Netflix, kind of going through uh, the birth of FIFA, and how it was ran back then,
Mm-hmm.
all the way up till today.
Mm-hmm.
And Seb Blatter was part of it
Mm-hmm.
from the inception.
Inception.
So again, it's about the like the same for the parrainage. So who is backing you up and who is doing
Uh-huh.
things to favor your growth and your progress.
Wow.
If you don't have that, it becomes much more difficult. Neither your talent nor your hard work is going to help you. Now, again, why for those who do get the chance,
Mm-hmm.
why do they not succeed? For those who get the chance and they don't succeed, it is because they're essentially coming a step behind their um their teammates, or the competition, should I say,
Okay.
Uh-huh.
right? Again, as we said, if someone has been playing in front of big crowds since the age of 8, 9, 10 years old, in front of big lights and everything,
Yes.
they're much more confident, they're much more aware, they're much more comfortable.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
For someone who starts playing in gazon after, when he's 20 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and he's playing on the pitch versus playing in mud,
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks earlier, there's our brain has to catch up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for some of us, we catch up faster than others, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone like Ito went to Europe and he was
So it was
15,
young.
16, he
Yeah.
was young, right? But that hunger, like, hey, I'm going to have to make it.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that sets the professional apart, right? That
Mm-hmm.
that sets each of them apart,
Mm-hmm.
because the hunger that Ito has is to me is not the same hunger that Mbappe has,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
Even though Mbappe has probably done a bit more at his age that Ito has,
Mm-hmm.
but I think if you look at the end of each of their career,
Mm-hmm.
Ito will probably have way more impact just
Yeah.
Yes.
because of what he has gone through,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
what he signifies for an entire country, an
Yes.
entire continent, even,
Uh-huh.
right? Because even today, if you see him, he's at the top of FIFA.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's one of the untouchables. you
That's
can
right.
you cannot touch him,
Mm-hmm.
right? But again, what I appreciate from him is the fact that he's able to take his knowledge and his experience
Mm-hmm.
and try to bring it back to us,
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
right? He knows what a good league can do for the players,
Yeah.
Yes.
right? He's trying to raise their salaries.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty soon, I'm sure he's going to try to work on the infrastructure of our stadiums,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right? Give us more stadiums, give us more endorsements,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. It's going to come naturally with time if he
Yes.
has the time to accomplish it.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes the change of mentality at the grassroots level, like
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
like Nathan mentioned. So I think I think that should probably cover it in my mind.
Wow. That's so true. Koshi, do you have any special clubs in mind? Like, do you have a club that you support? Because I know I always hear people say I'm Paris Saint Germain, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. Some people even say I'm PW
Yeah.
Dukumba and this. Do you have any special clubs in mind that you like? Okay, this is my club. It doesn't matter if they exist, they don't exist, or what is it for you?
I'm a Mourinho diehard. If Mourinho goes to Tone,
You'll be Tone fan.
I'm a Tone fan. If he goes to anywhere, I
Yeah.
follow Mourinho.
Okay.
So for right now, I'm a Romanista.
Okay.
I watch
So
Italian league. I follow
at the
Roma.
level of Cameroon, is there any clubs you actually vouch for
I'm not really in touch with Cameroon like that.
right now?
But when I was there,
Mm-hmm.
it was a Lexpo.
Expo Limbe.
Lexpo Limbe. It was a
Mm-hmm.
Lexpo Limbe. That was my club. I
Mm-hmm.
traveled the whole Southwest with them. You know,
Okay.
that was my club. And then I like Tonnerre. I
Okay.
like Tonnerre because they came to Limbe, we trashed them.
Mm-hmm.
We as a Lexpo, it
Mm-hmm.
gave me an opportunity to see the big players.
Okay.
Again, I
The
like
Roger
Alex.
Milas.
No,
Was
the
Roger there?
George Weah,
Okay, yeah.
the Salah Mensah, the
Mhm.
Kofi Abre.
Yeah.
Expo gave me an opportunity to see big players like
Mhm.
Henry Wozu when he was playing
Yes.
for Racing,
Yes.
Billy Eves. They brought the first division to Limbe.
Okay.
That is my team.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if they still exist.
Expo, I think so. Now sometimes they're there, they're
They're
not
struggling,
there. But
yeah.
I just and like you said, those teams they have man, they were so inspirational.
Yeah.
Like you talked about Tone. I think the first time I saw Mila when I was a kid, really, really young, was because Tone was supposed to play against PWD Kumba. And even though he was not going to play that day, he came.
Yes.
And then he was just parading the city, and then he would just drive somewhere, stop, come out of his car, and
Fine,
every
yeah.
grand set,
Man.
all
Yeah,
mommy
go,
they
yeah.
run. I see my brother, my party look, my mommy so say, you really,
Yeah,
really,
you
they wanted
too.
pictures, and it was so beautiful. My brother here, do you have a club, or maybe in Europe or back home? Which
Back home, no, I haven't had the chance to familiarize myself with the Cameroonian league, but I know in Europe, I like to watch the different styles, right,
Mhm.
across the different leagues. So I was saying earlier, I have different teams that I favor for several reasons, right? So when I was younger, it was Barcelona because Eto'o was there, Ronaldinho, that whole set. But the older I get, I'm more I'm more aware of the style of soccer. So right now, I think German soccer, the way they play, the way the ball moves on the pitch, I think is something that I like. In Spain with the tiki taka, it's nice, but to me, I think it's too many passes sometimes.
Okay.
So in the French league, I think the French league is probably the bottom rung. PSG is the team of choice, but overall, I just don't think there's much competition there. In England, I like City, Manchester City, and then in Italy, I like Milan. But
Which
outside
one's
of
in
those,
Milan?
Inter Milan,
Inter.
yeah. And that's just because earlier when I was young, I liked Inzaghi. So that's I have my reasoning for liking them vary, but overall those
Why do
are
you like City? The play style
City.
or
So
is
the
it
play
Pep
style,
Guardiola?
but yeah, Pep Guardiola also, but Yaya Toure. Yaya Toure was one. I think that when he played at City, you didn't see midfielders of his size doing what he was doing,
Yeah.
right? Like you don't see a guy that tall,
Big,
that
yeah.
big playing in that position, and that giving him the opportunity to do that kind of opened up their game because he was able to find different passes. He was able to even finish at times. So I did
Who
fall in love
who
with
brought
that.
him there? Was it Pellegrini?
The guy
Who's-
before Pep.
Pep.
Pep, yeah.
But Pep
I
was the
think
one who
is
destroyed him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
He
what
ran-
that's
he
where I
ran-
was heading to.
he ran him into the ground.
Yes, and it started from Barcelona. He
Exactly.
kicked him
Yeah.
out and
Exactly,
came to
kicked him out,
City
yeah.
and kicked him out.
That's-
Bro, we have a lot we are going to talk about. Things like that we really need to talk about. Even himself, the Toure guy,
Mhm.
if he managed the whole thing well, because sometimes you start playing and then you meet this block with the coach and all of that. I feel like you need to negotiate. People like Eto had the same challenge with him. So many players have had a challenge with him. I don't know if it's an
you
yeah.
notice that it's mainly with African players.
Black player.
Yeah,
It's with black players.
this is the thing, right? for me, I feel like even our kids are actually going to probably meet someone like that. But what is the way forward? Are you just supposed to negotiate because you want to continue? Because guess what? It doesn't matter what we say. He precipitated people like Eto's
Demise, yeah,
retirement,
of course.
Toure, and all the likes. You understand?
Mhm.
Once he start painting, because that's the thing. Most of these coaches, I feel like personally, I feel like they talk. Once you start painting a toe as a bad character, the next coach doesn't want to use him.
True.
You understand? The
Mhm.
coach in Saudi Arabia doesn't want to sign him
Mhm.
because he's going to be a problem. The coach, so whether you like it or not, after he goes to the next big club, he plays there, it's going to be difficult for him to get another contract because most of the coaches feel like, you know what, this guy is going to be a headache.
Maybe it kills the morale, the players' morale too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, what would be the best thing for our players to do? Just go in there and negotiate with him, look for a comfortable place, or just keep your ego and be like, no, I am a toe. And it doesn't matter what happens, I will continue to be a toe. I will stay, I will just be that stubborn guy. And
I think keep your ego. Keep your ego.
you think so too?
See.
Yeah, coach.
Yeah,
Yeah, coach.
it was Bakary Sanya, Zabaleta, Leroy Sane. You have a lot of them,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you cannot come and target a race,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
And for we cannot back off because we need the dollar or we need
Mhm.
the
The money,
fame.
yeah.
Because
Okay.
this is what he does.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't put me on the field, it kills my morale.
Yes.
What am I doing there when I'm so good?
Yeah.
I need to hurry up and go somewhere
Yeah.
Else.
before my morale goes down,
Goes
And my
down.
right?
value.
And
Mhm.
my
My market
value,
and my
right?
value.
Mhm.
So I'm not gonna sit on the bench and try to persuade you who doesn't like me,
Mm-hmm.
to put me on the field,
Yeah.
right? That's what happened to Leroy Sané, to
Mm-hmm.
Eto'o, to all of them, to
Mm-hmm.
Yaya Toure, right? They were good players.
Great players.
They cannot sit. Yaya Toure left Barcelona to City.
Mm-hmm.
He came and still forced him
The
out.
same
But
thing.
first
Yeah.
We
time, yeah.
cannot. If that was me, I would leave
Mm-hmm.
because I'll go to Inter
Mm-hmm.
and shine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll still be known. I'll still be on the papers,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'll go to PSG and shine.
Mhm.
I don't have to stay under Pep Guardiola, who doesn't like me,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
who's never going to put me on the bench. I
Yeah.
mean, on the
On the
field.
field, yeah.
So it's a waste of my time staying there. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to negotiate, especially when the people before me did not negotiate. And you know the circumstances.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
so what you're saying that the negotiating comes based on the quality of the player. Let's even remove Pep and let's talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. How
Mm-hmm.
Cristiano Ronaldo left
Mm-hmm.
Manchester
Manchester
United.
United.
Before he left, where is he? On
Mm-hmm.
the bench. So a player of that quality
Mm-hmm.
at that point in time in his career,
Mm-hmm.
what message are you sending by
Mm-hmm.
benching him?
I don't want you.
Right? It's
Mhm.
it's essentially a silent way of telling him that your time has come and gone.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's how you feel,
Mhm.
you cannot make his exit
Mm-hmm.
be a negative one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to look at it from the perspective of that personality, right? He
Mhm.
has played for so long, he has achieved so much
Mm-hmm.
that deserves a certain level of respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that athletes in different leagues are taking more and more of that accountability of themselves to speak up for themselves for their whole careers. Because when they're done playing, what do we have left? We have the
Mhm.
memories of how they were playing. But if you end up finishing in a negative light,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't feel as good, right? Look at Zidane. We know Zidane was a great player, but we remember that he's the
The
one
red
who,
card. The red
yeah,
card.
the red card, like
Mhm.
on the big stage. So
Mhm.
it's always that stain, and I think a lot of those professionals don't want that. And
Mhm.
so for a coach to paint you in that light,
Mhm.
it's I don't think it's acceptable. I also don't think that is it's professional on their part to do that.
Mhm.
Because if you're targeting me and you are essentially making a fool of me in the media,
Mhm.
I have to defend myself.
Mhm.
You have to, because now it affects your gameplay.
Mhm.
So, and your value as well. Soccer or sports is a young man's game. By the
Mhm.
time if you reach you're in your 30s,
Mhm.
you already need to start making plans
Mhm.
for retirement.
Mhm.
And so now, if I'm spending the rest of that time on the bench, what good
But you
what
see,
good does that do me?
to add to that point, right?
Yes, question.
Cristiano Ronaldo was already aging out of his profession,
Mhm.
right? if you look at young people like Sunny, right? You cannot try to frustrate a young guy who is very talented.
Okay.
You know, Cristiano Ronaldo, to me, I think they were pushing him out because they wanted to bring foster the Rashfords, right? But the way they did it was wrong.
Yeah, of
Because if you
course.
listen to his interview, he said,
Mm-hmm.
he asked the coach, "What is your project with me?"
Mhm.
And they gave him this bright future. He
Wow.
he he banked on it, right? And then you come and then they put you on the bench. It's very disappointing.
It's
Because
disrespectful.
he had an option. He had many options,
It
right?
was Sir Alex Ferguson
Persuaded
who
him.
persuaded him,
Yeah,
and
Mm-hmm.
because of the respect that he had for him. So
yeah.
if you had a coach like Sir Alex Ferguson in that post, do you think that Cristiano Ronaldo would have went out that way?
He would have no. He would have handled it differently.
Yeah, it would have been a completely different
Yeah, yeah,
situation.
yeah.
So it depends on the regard and the respect that that coach has towards that player.
I think we're being too friendly. I want us to fight a little bit, right?
No,
We
I,
have
I don't. I
to.
don't. I don't think.
We
I
have
think
to.
this is
Because I
actually.
hate the fact that he's a Milan guy.
Yeah,
You know, I
No,
don't. I don't. I don't like
I like
that.
Inter. I like Inter. They
You
gave
know.
my
yeah,
boy. They gave my boy into a second
I
check.
think this conversation is good because this is just the first day. This is just the pilot
Yeah.
segment,
Yeah.
and someone wants us to talk about the Cameroon game. Could she spin your microphone some more towards?
Like
No,
this,
no, the other way. Yeah,
right there.
someone wants us to talk about the Cameroon game. I'm sure you guys watched the game.
Yeah.
Uh, Koshi, what was your take?
I think we were
Cameroon, Namibia.
Cameroon, Namibia.
Mhm.
We controlled the game.
Mm-hmm.
We dominated the game, but we were not threatening.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I will blame our goal, the goal that they scored against us. I'll blame the goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
We can analyze that, but I'll blame the goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I like Song. I like the substitution that he made. I like the way he managed the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we came out with a draw that was a merited draw,
Okay.
in my opinion. The way we scored, the way we pressured Namibia. You see, Namibia played very well.
They played very well.
They
That's true.
contained us,
Mm-hmm.
but we were not dangerous. We did not, in my opinion, we did not have a striker.
Mm-hmm.
We were not very dangerous because at the end of I think the last 20 minutes, he brought this young guy who plays for Canon.
Mm-hmm.
The guy he sent maybe 15 balls in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in the box.
Okay.
That's why I blame Song. If you have to make that, bring up that tactics, you have to have somebody to
Up
wait
front.
for the ball in the
Mhm.
box. He sent those balls. There was nobody. And they were good balls, But
Mhm.
overall, I think we played well.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think you're gonna get your wish. I think we had a terrible game overall. I think the game was terrible. I watched the game, and the goal that Namibia scored,
Mhm.
it's definitely the goalkeeper's fault.
Mhm.
But overall, that team lacks chemistry. We dominated the game based on possession,
Mm-hmm.
but it was sloppy possession for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Cameroon team lacks a bit of chemistry in the way they play.
Mhm.
They're not playing as a unit.
Mhm.
There's a lot of individual talent, but it does not, to me, seem like a team that has experience playing together for a while.
Yeah.
And against a team like Namibia and the expectations of Cameroon, we should not have conceded to them that early. To number one,
Mhm.
and then the next aspect is if the chemistry is not there, then to me it affects everything else.
Wow.
We did well to come back together and score the goal.
Mhm.
Song made great changes, great substitutions.
Mhm.
One thing that he has to be commended for, even during the World Cup, even with the substitutions he's made, I think he has proven that he's able to make the proper substitutions,
Mhm.
because at this point, all the substitutions that he's made in the games that he's coached have been good changes.
Mhm.
But that starting lineup and the leadership on the field is lacking, right? I don't think that we have that leadership on the field, and I don't think that we have that chemistry that would allow a team to go far in competitions.
Well, when was the last time we had a team with that chemistry that you're talking
That
about?
should be 2000.
Yeah, that was the
very
early,
long-
the early the early 2000s,
long
which
time
is
ago.
a problem.
It's a problem.
It's a problem for a team. You need players who are looking for each other's success. You need that. For example, even in the World Cup, there was you. We know that there's a good understanding between Choupo-Moting and Abubakar. In the game that they did play together up front, they had a lot of chances. But simply because they have chemistry, they know each other's talents, they know each other's likes and such, and they play in that direction. Once you remove that piece of the puzzle, it becomes an individualistic thing. Someone's coming there because they want to earn a contract. Instead of making the simple pass, they're shanking the ball to the goalpost or whatever. So that to me is the criticism that I have overall. But Namibia did have chances, but to me they're not a convincing team either, right? So for us not to demonstrate our abilities, I think that was a
So you
failure.
think, Seko,
Yes, Coach.
so you think we had that team, the team that you saw played against Namibia was our best team, our average team, or a subpar team?
That was I would think that would be our average team, because
You know why it was our average team?
we were only missing who are the
We missed our best attackers
we
like
missed our best
Choupo-Moting,
attackers.
Abubakar,
Ekambi.
Ekambi. No,
Yeah, no, Ekambi did not play.
he didn't
No,
play.
he didn't
No.
He
play.
didn't play. So we didn't have Ekambi. So that's what, four.
Three. Let's say
or
three.
four?
The three major ones.
Okay, so how many players are on the field at any
We didn't
given
have
point in
five.
time?
We didn't. Yeah, it was now in games like that.
Mhm.
That's when you bring in the future,
Of course,
right? And of course, you're not going to get that A+ performance.
Mhm,
You will
mhm.
get this kind of performance.
Okay.
Now, if you use this team, let's rate this team based on their quality.
Okay.
But let's rate their performance based on their quality. These are local for the most part.
Okay.
You would expect that from them. I'm not saying that I'm not judging them because they are local players, but I
Mm.
think they came in there and they did, in my opinion, they did a good game.
Mhm.
If we had had people like the Abu Bakars, we would have had a different
Of course,
result.
it would have been a
We're
different
playing
game.
Namibia, for heaven's sake. If we play Egypt, then you see a different level.
Yeah.
You know,
I think there was a good mixture of local players and foreign players, right? The players who play in the foreign leagues, right? But for example, I'll take the midfield. In the midfield, we had Angisa. Who else did we have? The guy who scored. I think he was a local guy
he's a local
as well.
guy.
He's a local guy as well. But I expect more from the foreign guys more than the local guys, right? Gombe Kelly, in every game that he has played, he has demonstrated that he's a pivotal player. At this point,
Who's Ngombe Kelly?
the guy who had the
blonde
hair,
The guy who came in?
yeah, the guy who came
Yes,
in,
yes, yes. He's a local player.
He's a local player,
Yes.
right? Even in the World Cup, the pass he made to Abubakar,
Abubakar,
he
yeah.
scored.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that need more chances in games like this early.
Yes.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
If that guy was playing in that game early, then we would have had more chances.
That is what you think.
No, seriously, you have to, because think about it. If someone in 5 or 10 minutes gives you quality play,
Yeah.
imagine what he can do.
No, this is a thing also.
45
This
or
is a
90
thing
minutes.
also, right? Sometimes games like that, you want to give the other players the opportunity to show what they can do. It's manipulative with coaches. Coaches will do that intentionally because they know me having this guy play instead of this guy, he will do everything possible to
Win that position.
bring, to want to win the position, and then it's going to bring results. Now, we don't deny that the guy who came in is a good player, but I think sometimes coaches will just try to manipulate to see. You remember, like back in the days when Eto'o was playing for Chelsea, and then Mourinho went to the press conference and said, "Oh, I don't even know if he's
age.
29 or 32 or he's 50." And then Eto'o took it as a challenge. Guess what?
He got the
7,
result.
10 years later, Mourinho is actually doing interviews and saying, "I said that intentionally because I know who he is." When Eto'o came to Inter Milan to rejoin Mourinho, Mourinho decided to put him on the bench. Put him on the bench for like 2, 3, 4 games. And then Eto'o walk up to him and say, "Hey, what is your
are we doing?"
problem?
Yeah.
I did not come here to sit on the bench. I want to play." And then he is saying now that was when he said, "Okay, my player is ready to deliver."
Yes.
And then he put in Eto'o, and what happened? They end up to win the game. They not just the game, but I think they
yeah,
won
They
a
won the
treble.
Champions
treble.
League, yeah.
So I feel like what Song was trying to do, which I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I feel like he was just trying to manipulate the players who are not the A-list players to push and do their best and then maybe get result. Yes, coach.
Yeah, he's trying to. We Let me put myself in that category.
Mhm.
We try to bring hungry. We try to make players hungry.
Yes.
Some players are
I think that is
dangerous.
the right word I was
Some
supposed
players
to
are
use.
dangerous when they come from the bench.
Mhm.
Yes.
There was a time when I went to Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I had my Clovis.
Yes.
He was one of my maestro in the midfield.
Mm-hmm.
I subbed him out. Why? Because I want to play with his psychology.
Mhm.
I sub him out so I can tell everybody else that I can sub
Sub
him. I
you,
can
yeah.
sub you.
Times two, yeah.
Now he's mad.
Yeah.
That's what I want. When I brought him back on the field, he was a different
He
player.
wanted to show you
He was the
something.
lion. So you have to use that psychology.
I'm not refuting that. I'm definitely not refuting. And I understand a hungry player, someone who wants to achieve and dominate and perform, it's pivotal. But at the same time, it's not one player, right? It's the whole team. It's a team chemistry,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's how can that player affect his teammates in order to deliver? And I don't think Cameroon in that game really had that. I think Kunde came in and he did great.
Mm-hmm.
His first two touches,
Mm-hmm.
he changed the course of the game. He had a defensive stop. He had a good free kick,
Mm-hmm.
right? And to me, I think okay, that it goes right into what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
From the bench, he was watching. Okay,
Mhm.
he knew. Okay, this is what I can do.
Mhm.
But can we get that early on in the games? Can we start the game like that? And can the people who are playing or who have won the position
Mm-hmm.
keep that level high? And I just don't think we're at that point yet.
Yes.
Yeah, to that point, right?
Mhm.
First of all, those guys have not had the chance to train amongst each other enough
Yeah.
time.
It shows.
Secondly,
It shows.
secondly, if you have A+ player playing with a C player, you don't expect that flow, right?
Mhm.
You don't expect that flow. So you see that lag. That's what we saw.
True.
Now, factor that in. You should agree with me that they did not do bad.
They didn't do bad. They didn't do
And
bad.
if we had had our A team, or if we had given these guys a chance to train together for an extended amount of time, maybe we would have seen a better performance.
Yeah, of course.
You know, when you build a team, you have to go through these phases.
Mhm.
You know, we don't. It's a time when we played against some team in Scandinavia.
Mhm.
Mourinho put his team B, and they trashed us 6-0.
Mhm.
6-0. So sometimes coaches take that risk
Yeah.
because they have to push the team ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
What do you think about the phases of Song's coaching? Where do you think he's leading this team at this point? We're coming out of a World Cup
World Cup.
where essentially we were favorites to come out of our group, but we didn't perform in that
Mhm.
scenario. Now we're going into the African Cup of Nations. Where do you think that, how do you judge his performance thus far as a coach?
I think I will, if I was in a position to make a decision on his fate, I'll keep him.
Hmm.
I've been impressed with what he has done, looking at his background. Are we the best? Are we
Mhm.
better than before? Maybe not. But do you see some prospects? Yeah, I do.
Mhm.
The key with our team is to have that chemistry amongst us, our players. There's a lot of divisiveness. If we can put that together, like what happened with Onana,
Mhm.
we don't. Who knows why the Abu Bakars did not come
Mhm.
or the
No, I
Chupos?
think some are injured,
Yeah,
others
They
have
Chupo is
can-
injured.
suspension.
Chupo is injured, and then
Chupo
They
is
can
injured.
hide behind injury
Suspension.
Mhm.
because they don't want FIFA to hit them, right?
Mhm.
Hey, I have a muscle something, I have my
Mhm.
toe, so they can hide behind that. I'm not
Mhm.
saying they're not injured, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I don't think there is happiness in that team.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
And
see
it
what I mean?
shows. It shows.
And Song has to do a lot to bring that chemistry in the
Yeah.
Okay.
team. You know
The
that's and if
camaraderie.
we can have that, these guys want to play.
Yeah.
These guys want to play.
There's a lot of hunger on that team.
Yeah.
The young guys that have gotten the opportunity have demonstrated that they want to be there. They want to.
Even the goal when that guy scored, you saw
Yeah.
he's a local, right?
Yeah, he's a local guy. He's a
Yeah,
local
he
guy.
give them that
It was his
opportunity.
first cap.
Yeah.
It was his first cap. So first cap, first goal.
Yeah.
Right. Imagine if Song does not give him the opportunity to play. Right? We don't even draw that game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I agree with what you're saying. There's a lot of you know upside to this team,
Mm-hmm.
but the camaraderie is lacking.
Yeah.
The camaraderie is lacking. So we can tell that you guys don't. You guys are professionals. You guys are good, but we can tell you're not playing to the level of a team that has been playing together
Yeah.
for a while.
Yes.
It
Yes.
just looks like okay, you guys have been off for a couple of months, and then but the style of a team that hey, like I'll take for example the German national team.
Mm-hmm.
The German national teams all throughout the year, for most part, they're either playing against each other or playing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So the quality of that team is always going to be better than a team that has players that are playing in different parts of the world,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right? Because on a yearly base, on year round, I'm able to see we know what type of passes you like or what type of goals or what where on the pitch you're most effective,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'll give you one example with Triple Moting. Triple Moting last year, he's just scoring tap in goals. He's not taking the ball and dribbling too much.
Yes.
He is in the red zone. He gets a pass, a header, or a kick to the corner.
Mm-hmm.
There was an opportunity against in the Switzerland game when Bomo had the ball. Chupo was by himself,
Mm-hmm.
and then instead of giving a direct freak, a direct kick
Pass,
into
yeah.
right into the box, he shoots it at the goal. And in a competition like that, there's a scouting report. The other players
Yes.
on the opposite team see that, oh, you're not able to recognize the situations in which your team is the most effective.
Effective.
And automatically that changes the course of a
Yeah.
game.
Mm-hmm.
It changes the course of the game because that's a mistake now. And so I think Song does have to breed that spirit of camaraderie amongst the guys. Hey, it's your third cap, it's your first cap, or this guy, this is his 100th cap, but let's make sure that we are playing for each other. If you're in the right, position in the right setting, make the right play,
Uh-huh.
right? And that will make us better as a team.
Guys, man, this is 1 hour 16 minutes. I was hoping for us to do 1 hour, but I feel like we can go 2-3 hours.
Wow.
I just hope we can I wish we can have another time to just sit here and talk about
Mhm.
games, analyze games. We'll go actually deep into just games. Today was kind of like the pilot segment. We just wanted to introduce us, talk about soccer, and for me, it's fun. I don't know about you guys,
No, it's
but
good.
for
This was a
me,
great conversation.
I really want to have just the two of you next time, so we can not only talk about soccer as back in the days, but soccer as in today. What is happening? Koshi, one roundup, or what is your message to our community when it comes to sports and what we can actually do as a community? Because I strongly believe, um, those of us in the diaspora, we can actually push for our kids to become professionals, and not just professionals, but also feed the national team.
Mhm.
You look at France, we have Mbappe, who is from diaspora. We have so many players around the world who are playing for other countries who are from diaspora. What do you think our community should start doing so the next Mbappe should not play for France, but go back to play maybe for Cameroon? Or what do you think we can start doing to just get things across the line?
Again, it's about stamping out corruption
Mhm.
and recognizing our people,
Okay.
right? Because we have talents that are out there
Mm-hmm.
because they don't want to play
Mm-hmm.
for us because of what they are hearing or what they've experienced.
Wow.
Somewhere like Matip,
Yeah.
right? So we have to really fix that problem. Once we can fix that problem,
Mm-hmm.
people will come home and feel comfortable
That's true.
to play for the flag.
That's true.
Because the players who go to France and play, and the next game they're not playing
Yeah.
Mhm.
because France has a big pool of good players.
Players.
But if you can guarantee a spot in the World Cup playing for Cameroon,
Mm-hmm.
and the environment, the conditions are good, they're favorable to you,
Mm-hmm.
all of them will play for Cameroon.
Mhm.
Okay.
All of them. And if we have all of them playing for Cameroon, we will represent at the World Cup. That's
Wow.
how we can move up.
Hey, yeah. What do you think?
I think that we have to change our mentality and change our culture. I think we, for those of us who are lucky to be in places where there are resources, I
Mhm.
believe we should take full advantage of it
Mhm.
and be patient, be active participants in the process,
Mm-hmm.
and put the future in the next generation's hands. Let's not be afraid of the possibilities. Essentially, we have athletes have that have reached the top level in
Mhm.
these different leagues, not just in football, but
Mhm.
basketball as well. We have
Mhm.
guys in the basketball league now that are pretty significant and have impact on their teams.
Mhm.
So we have to know that it's possible, and we have to understand that there are conditions that are necessary to meet that.
Mhm.
And once we are able to do it at the youth level, inevitably at the senior level, the results will show as well. So it's a cultural thing, but it starts with the grassroots. And once we master that phase, I think the sky's the limit.
Man, this was wonderful. I feel like we can go again and again and again. Is there any question? Is there any topic you guys wanted us to talk about? Maybe that I did not bring up.
Like you said, we can package another very good session for next time.
Mhm.
Because in this business, bro, we can talk till next week,
Yeah.
till
Of
next
course.
year, because there's a lot to talk about. So we covered the essentials. We covered what we had to.
Mhm.
So I'm equally very satisfied, and I like it. Sometimes we don't do in life. We don't. Sometimes we don't do what we like to do.
Mhm.
This is what I like to do,
Mhm.
I know.
and I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Gucci. Yeah. Is there anything you wanted us to talk about?
No, no, no. I think we've touched on the main things, like Brother Koshi said.
Mhm.
Thank you for championing this initiative. I think you're doing a lot in the community and giving us the platform to express ourselves and have these conversations. So we want to be able to represent our country, represent our thoughts in a positive way, and
Mhm.
change the course of history. Right, we're given the opportunity to do this, and we should take full advantage of it, and it'll just make us better, and make the next generation better as well.
Wow, man, thank you guys so much for coming. This was, I don't know how I can actually put it. Usually, it take me at least 2 weeks to organize a segment,
Mhm.
but for this time around, I think I called you like 3 or 4 hours to the
Mhm.
segment. You the same thing, like
Mhm.
3 hours to. But guess what? I can actually proudly say this is the best segment, not just because um I'm a football fanatic, or I'm passionate about football, but the information and everything, the conversation, it's just flowing
Mhm.
easily.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should do next 2 weeks. I think next 2 weeks will be a good place for us to get together again and talk about
Mhm.
soccer. Thank you much. For those who are watching, thank you guys. The comments, the everything, please share the video with any other person. From next week, what we'll do is we'll have to invite some few people during the live, so they can join and ask their questions. They're not only going to type their questions, they're going to ask their questions directly to our panel. This was so educative. I believe say Buka play ball are over no, but I don't discover today. Say I really get for learn more. Now there's more to it that we get for today. See you guys in 2 weeks, right?
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
In
Thank you
two
very
No
weeks,
much.
problem.
Thank you,
and
Sako.
it's going to be another beautiful, very very beautiful segment with my brother Perez and Makoshi Nathan. Thank you guys very very much.
Thank you
Wow.
for having us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.